Stella stood outside, wiping her hands on her clothes. She looked confused. "Sir, you sent for me?" she asked. Joshua smiled. "Yes, I'm going for lunch. Come with me." Her eyes widened. "Sir? Me? To lunch?" "Yes, just lunch. Don't be afraid." She nodded slowly and followed him into the car. They drove to a quiet restaurant not far from the office. It was beautiful. Soft music played in the background. Stella looked around, feeling out of place. When the food came, she stared at the knife and fork. Joshua noticed. "Do you want me to show you how to use it?" he asked kindly. She looked down, embarrassed. I don't really know how." "That's okay," he said, smiling. "Let me show you." He gently took her hand and showed her how to hold the fork. She laughed a little. "I feel like a child." "No," he said softly. "You're just learning. And there's nothing wrong with that." They ate quietly for a while. Then he asked, "How are the home lessons going?" "Very well, sir," she replied. "My teacher says I'm improving. I'm trying hard." "I can see that," Joshua said. "You're doing well." They talked more about books, her dreams, her past at the orphanage, and her hope to become something more. There was no pressure, just a simple lunch, but something had started to grow. Not just respect, but something deeper. And they both felt it, even though no one said a word about it yet. But something began to happen at the company. It started with whispers. Staff would look at Stella and whisper behind her back, "Why is the boss always smiling at her? Did you see him walk into the garage again today? What's so special about her?" Some even laughed and called her names when she walked by. But Stella kept quiet. She didn't answer anyone. She just kept doing her job. But one person wasn't just whispering. She was burning with anger. Victoria, Joshua's personal assistant, watched from her office window every day. She had worked with Joshua for 2 years. She always dressed well. She always spoke softly when he was around. She always brought him tea, even when he didn't ask. But Joshua never looked at her twice. Now this girl, this poor, uneducated girl from the street, was the one getting his attention? Victoria's heart boiled. One evening, when Joshua was in his office alone, Victoria knocked and stepped in. "Sir, can I speak with you?" she asked sweetly. Joshua looked up. "Yes, Victoria. What is it?" She sat down slowly. "I just want to tell you something important. It's about Stella." Joshua raised his head. "What about her?" Victoria leaned forward. "Sir, please don't be upset, but you need to be careful. These street girls, they know how to act innocent. They pretend to be kind, but their eyes are always on money." Joshua stared at her. "She's using you," Victoria said in a low voice. "People like her, they always come with a plan." There was silence in the room. Joshua sat back, still staring at her. Then he said quietly, "Thank you, Victoria. You may go now." Victoria stood up slowly. "Yes, sir." As she closed the door, she smiled to herself. But what she didn't know was that Joshua didn't believe a word she said. Joshua sat at a table with 3 of his business partners in a private lounge. They were all older men. Rich. Powerful. They had helped him grow his company when he first started. They were like family to him. After talking about a new deal, one of them cleared his throat. "Joshua," he said, "can we speak as elders now?" Joshua nodded. "Of course." The man leaned in. "We've been hearing things. About a girl." Joshua looked at them. "A cleaner at your company," another added. "She's the one people say you're always around." Joshua smiled lightly but said nothing. "We know you're a good man," the first one continued, "but you must be careful. You're not just anyone. You are a big name in business now." Another one spoke. "If people begin to spread stories, it won't be good for your image. You know how this country is." Joshua folded his hands. "I understand your concern," he said. "But Stella is just someone I'm helping. She has no family, no education, no support." One of them shook his head. "Yes, help her. But don't get too close. People won't understand it. People will twist it," another warned. "You know how fast news spreads." Joshua stayed calm. "I've heard you," he said. "I will handle it." They nodded and changed the topic. But as they spoke about other things, Joshua's mind was far away. He looked down at his glass and thought to himself, why is the world always ready to judge what it doesn't understand? He knew he had to be careful, but he also knew something else. He was beginning to care about Stella more than he expected. Stella heard the whispers. She saw how people looked at her. Some laughed behind her. Some called her names. Desperate cleaner. Who does she think she is? She wants to trap the boss. Every day at work felt heavier. She would smile in front of others, but her heart was tired. She didn't want trouble. She didn't ask for any of this. That night, she sat alone in her small corner at the staff quarters. Her hands were shaking. She held her lesson books in her lap and stared at them. School was the only thing that gave her hope. But even that was not enough anymore. I didn't come here to be insulted, she said to herself. She thought about her life. No parents, no real friends, no home of her own. And now, everyone at work looked at her like she was a thief, like she stole something that wasn't hers. She tried to be strong, but she was tired. That night, while everyone slept, she folded her clothes quietly into her bag. She placed her books on top and zipped it up. She looked around her small space one last time. Then she walked out slowly, into the night. Without telling anyone. She didn't know where she was going. But she knew she couldn't stay there anymore. Joshua walked into the company the next morning with a smile, ready to ask Stella about her lesson work. But when he got to the garage, she wasn't there. He asked another cleaner, "Have you seen Stella today?" The man shook his head. "No, sir. She didn't come to work." Joshua checked her room at the staff quarters. It was empty. The bed was neat. Her bag was gone. He felt a strong pain in his chest. He called her number. It was switched off. He called again. Still off. He drove back to the same street where he met her the first time. He sat in his car for hours, watching the road, hoping she would walk by. But she didn't come. Day after day, he kept going back there. Morning, evening, night. He asked the people who walked by, "Have you seen a girl called Stella?" He described her. Some said no. Some just shook their heads. The phone he gave her had stayed off since she left. His heart was heavy. He couldn't sleep well. He missed her voice. He missed her laugh. But more than anything, he missed the peace he felt each time he was around her. And now, she was gone. It had been 3 long weeks since Stella disappeared. Joshua had searched everywhere. He asked the cleaners, the kitchen staff, even the gate man, but no one had seen her. Then one Tuesday morning, while Joshua stood by the company car park, one of the company bus drivers walked up to him quietly. "Good morning, sir," the driver said. Joshua nodded. "Good morning." The driver looked around and lowered his voice. "Sir, I saw that girl." Joshua's eyes widened. "What girl?" "The cleaner. The one they used to call Stella." Joshua stepped closer. "Where did you see her?" "Yesterday evening, around 5 p.m. She was at a construction site in a remote part of the city. I was driving past when I saw her. She was working at the construction site." Joshua's heart jumped. "Are you sure it was her?" "I'm very sure, sir. I even slowed down to look well. It was her." Joshua didn't waste time. He pulled his car key from his pocket and stretched it to the driver. "Take me there. Now." The drive to the area felt long. Joshua didn't speak much. He kept looking out the window, his hands tight on his lap. When they got to the construction site, Joshua stepped out. The sound of hammers and shovels filled the air. Men were moving sand, carrying blocks, mixing cement. Then, he saw her. Stella. She was wearing a big old t-shirt and long brown skirt. On her head was a block. A heavy one. She was walking slowly across the site. Joshua stood still. His eyes followed her every step. She looked thinner. Her face looked tired, but her eyes, still full of quiet strength. He felt his chest tighten. What kind of woman is this? He thought. I gave her a chance to go to school. I gave her an opportunity for a better life. But when that life brought her shame and pain, she walked away, with nothing. And now, she's here, carrying blocks like a man. Tears pushed at his eyes, but he blinked them away. He took a step forward, then another, and then he called out, "Stella, Stella looked up at Joshua. Her hands were shaking. She slowly bent down and dropped the block from her head. Then she wiped her face with her dirty sleeve and asked softly, "How did you find me?" Joshua took a step closer. She didn't look him in the eye. "I left that side of the city on purpose," she said quietly. "I didn't want to bring you shame again. I knew I didn't belong in your world." Joshua looked at her with so much care. He took her hand gently. "Stella, you don't belong on the street either," he said. "You belong in my life." Before she could reply, Joshua pulled her close and hugged her. Right there, at the construction site. He didn't care about the dust on her body. He didn't care that her clothes were dirty. He held her like someone who had found something very special. The workers on the site all stopped what they were doing. One of them whispered, "Wait, is that not Stella?" Another one said, "How does she know this rich man?" They all watched in surprise. But Joshua didn't even notice them. He looked at Stella again and said, "Get in the car." She shook her head lightly. "Joshua, But he stopped her. "Please, Stella. Get in the car." She looked at his face, then smiled a little, and quietly followed him to the car. Joshua turned to the driver and said, "Let's go." They drove straight to a big boutique. Joshua picked clothes for her, new dresses, shoes, and even a nice bag. Stella just stood there, speechless. After shopping, he said, "There's somewhere else I want to show you." Soon they arrived at a beautiful short-let apartment. It was quiet, clean, and full of bright light. His younger sister, Anita, who managed the place, came out smiling. Joshua said, "She will be staying here for now." Anita nodded and handed the key to Stella. Stella walked in slowly and looked around. The room was like a dream. Soft bed, small kitchen, and a sweet smell in the air. She turned to Joshua with tears in her eyes. "Joshua, this is too much," she said. But he smiled and said, "You're not going back to the company." She blinked. "What?" Joshua stepped closer. "You've done enough hard work. Now I'll set up a business for you. Something you can run while going to school." Stella covered her mouth with her hand. She couldn't believe it. This was the same girl who used to sleep outside in the cold. Now, someone cared enough to give her a second chance. And this time, she wasn't going to run away. 1 year later, Stella stood outside the university gate with a big smile on her face. She wore a simple white shirt and blue jeans. In her bag was her student ID card. She had just finished her morning class in mechanical engineering. She looked happy and full of life. Things had changed. She now walked with confidence. Joshua arrived in his car to pick her up like he always did. When she saw him, her eyes lit up. "Hey," he said, smiling as he opened the car door for her. "Good afternoon, Joshua," she said, getting in. "How was class today?" he asked as he started the car. "It was great. We did practicals. I fixed a small engine," she replied, laughing. Joshua looked at her with pride. "I knew it. You've always had a gift with machines." She smiled. "Thank you. For everything. For not giving up on me." Joshua shook his head gently. "Stella, I didn't help you out of pity. I saw your strength when you were fixing my car that day. I saw something real in you." They drove in silence for a while. Then Joshua pulled over by the beach. He looked into her eyes. "Stella," he said softly, "this 1 year with you has been the best part of my life. I want to do more than just support you. I want to build a life with you. If you'll let me." Tears filled Stella's eyes. She nodded slowly. "Yes, Joshua, I will." He took her hand and smiled. The sun shone behind them as the waves hit the shore gently. From a homeless girl to a student, from pain to purpose, Stella had found love, peace, and a new life. And this time, she knew. She truly belonged. Dear friends, this story teaches us something very deep. Never look down on anyone. That girl you see on the street today might be the woman sitting in a boardroom tomorrow. Just like Stella, many people are not lazy. They just need a little help and someone to believe in them. Also, true love is not about money or status. Joshua saw Stella's heart, not her clothes, not where she slept, but who she really was. And that is what love should be. So tell me, What did you learn from this story? Please drop your thoughts in the comments section. I would really love to read from you. You might even help someone else with your words. There's another very interesting story coming up in just a few days, so please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload it. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and share it with your friends and loved ones. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. See you in the next story.